YouTube, what up? What up? We are back. Welcome back to Rise and Grind Sports. We're getting closer. 5 days away. Monday.
Technically, because we got a full day today.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Yeah. So
the longest.
five days away from EA College Football 25, and then we can start really ramping up towards the season. That can carry us into
It's gonna be
late August, early September. It's gonna be great.
the longest weekend of my life.
It is gonna be long. It's gonna suck.
That sucks.
It's gonna suck. But I do have to work this weekend, so
There you go.
it'll pass the time.
It'll pass the time.
Um, guess we'll. I don't really want to touch on what happened at the John Deere Classic because it wasn't good at all. Pretty sure I had everybody except Seamus Power didn't hit. Uh, after day one, it looked like pretty much at least 4 out of 6 were going to hit, which, like we discussed on the pod the other day, doesn't really matter how day one goes because a lot of shit can happen between now and then.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. So that hurt. Still hurts.
It always stings a little bit.
Yep, that hurt. It still hurts. And I don't really have much to say about it.
Move on to next week.
Yeah, I mean, Davis Thompson, hats off to you. You did well. Won his first tournament, and
So able to get my money back.
that's it. I'm done. I didn't take him Sunday morning when I probably should have. I took the other two that he was playing with, and they both choked it away. And I sat there and I watched every shot, and I watched all of them choke it away. And I'm still pissed off about it, as you can see. So I don't like it. But I think what we discussed doing today was ACC win totals.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're gonna go down the line, and then you state your decision, and I state my decision.
Sure.
Sure.
We can do it that way. That's how you want to do it.
Fine.
I guess we'll just go top to bottom here and kind of go with it. Sorry, it's early. Yeah, I thought I was gonna sneeze there for a second. So Boston College, they got a new coach. They got Bill O'Brien. He used to, back in the day, he used to coach Penn State, like right after the whole scandal thing, and did okay. And then he went over to the NFL. He coached with the Texans, and then the last couple of years he's been on Alabama's staff. So I'm not really sure how to feel about Boston College. They do have like 80% of their offense returning, but their offense wasn't even like top 80 last year. So I don't really know what to make of that. And their transfer rank and their recruiting rank are not very good either. Probably because they have a new coach, and now he's coming into a whole new world of this NIL shit. But at the same time, he should kind of feel pretty comfortable. I mean, he coached in the NFL. So it's not a foreign concept to him with paying guys and everything like that. I don't know. Their schedule to me doesn't really favor them much. I mean, Florida State on the road, loss. Missouri on the road, loss. I think Virginia is going to be better than people think, especially with Calandria having another like off season under his belt. I also think Virginia Tech is going to be better than people think. We got Louisville to win the conference, so I think those are all losses. At SMU, I think is going to be like the swing game. Well, I think Western Kentucky at home is going to be the swing game, really. But if they end up winning that, they're kind of playing with house money because I believe their over unders at 4.5.
It is.
And I think I think they'll beat Duquesne. I think the game against Michigan State at home is going to be the one where it's like if they win, they may go over because I think they can beat Western Kentucky. I think they can beat Syracuse at home. I think they can beat UNC. And obviously, they win those 5 games, they're over, regardless of what happens at SMU or Pitt at the end of the year. Um, I would lean, I'm not going to play it. I would lean the over because I think they can go, 5-7. I don't think they're going to make a bowl. I do like their quarterback, Castellanos. He played really well last year. Dual threat guy. Um, I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on them, but I would lean over because I think if they lose at Michigan State, I mean, then it would be Duquesne, Western Kentucky, Syracuse, UNC, and then they could beat Pitt at the end of the year to go over. But I mean, if you're sitting at 4 wins near the end of the year, technically you could take the other team money line and hedge out of it if you really wanted to. So, um, I don't know. I have no clue how to feel about them. I think they got just a lot of turnover, a lot like new head coach. The ACC, you got new teams in the ACC. They don't luckily have to fly across the country like some of these teams do. Um, I was watching a pod. I think it was Late Kick with Josh Pate, I think. And Cal has to travel like 24,250 miles total to play their road games this year. And the circumference of the earth is 24,950 miles.
Kind of crazy.
So essentially, Cal has to go around the world to play football. And UCLA is even worse, but they're in the Big Ten, so we're not going to talk about that. But I don't know. Boston College, I think they're going to get their doors blown off by Florida State. Missouri's much better than them. I think they're going to lose at Virginia Tech. Louisville is going to come into town and beat them. I don't know. I would lean the over though. I would. I wouldn't put the under on that because like 4-8 is really hard to do, especially when like you're in the ACC. You're not playing, and they don't really play the top teams in the ACC. They
So
play one
Florida
of them.
State.
They play Florida State. That's it.
Yeah.
Missouri is obviously SEC, so it doesn't matter. So, like the top teams in the ACC, they play Florida State, and then I guess that second tier teams you could be like Virginia Tech and Louisville. I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
it's not
UNC
like
ain't gonna be what they were last year.
yeah, but it's not like they're it's not like they're playing Florida State, Clemson, Miami, UNC,
Right.
NC State, all of them. So it's a manageable schedule for them. So I would lean the over.
Yep. That's the side that I'm on. I think Bill O'Brien coming in is going to be a huge help. Maybe not this year per se, but the next 3 or 4 years it can make a big difference. I think, like you said, I think Castellanos is a better quarterback. I think he's one of the top below average quarterbacks, if that makes sense. The returning offensive production and the numbers high, but like you said, they're not even in the top 80 for offensive ranking from last year. They didn't really bring much in, but most of these ACC games near the end of the year, they're just kind of coin flips, I guess, and 50-50 tosses. So if it lands in their favor, it lands in their favor, and I think they can win more than 4.
Yeah. I'm kind of on that side too.
So
I think Bill O'Brien's going to start paying off as the years go on because
yeah, it brings a lot of
he's going to be able to do NIL and the transfer portals, technically like signing a free agent. So I
yeah.
think that's going to help down the road, but not immediately. Um, what's your opinion on Cal?
My opinion on Cal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what to think of him too much. Um, Defense last year was god awful. They're bringing back, more than half of it, so it's not good. It's not a good look for them. They didn't really bring too much in. What was their over under? I think I took their. Let me look. I think I took the under. Yeah, Cal under 5.5. It's their first year in the ACC as well. That's kind of a driving factor for me. I just when it's your first year going into a conference, it's always tough. But I feel like UC Davis would be a win. Auburn's most likely a loss for sure. That's 1-1. San Diego State probably going to be a 2-1 game. Florida State, they're going to get absolutely mauled. Miami, they just have that aura around them to where they play a team, they're just going to win no matter what for some reason. Not saying that that's how their season's going to go, but it's just when you see Miami, you think powerhouse. Pittsburgh's always a toss up whenever I think Pitt has a bad team. I always feel like they cause problems in the conference. They're bound to win one or two games that they probably shouldn't. I think Cal's a game they should win though, honestly. NC State's going to be a good team, so that's a win for NC State. It's a loss for Cal. Oregon State, who knows, honestly. I don't really know what Oregon State has this year. Wake Forest, that's a loss. And then Syracuse and Stanford. Syracuse is going to be a good team this year. And Stanford, they might actually win since it's at home. So that was what? UC Davis won. We'll say they win Oregon State, so that's 2.
San Diego State's 3.
3 San Diego State. Sorry, I missed that. And then Stanford. So 4 games. And then
So you like 4.
what was that?
You like them to win like 4.
Yeah, I like them to win like 4.
Okay.
And then what? Week 14. So
At
sorry, SMU. So yeah, I don't think they're beating SMU.
Yeah.
So
Week
4.
14, if it's a coin toss, I would say it's just a coin toss.
Yeah.
But like, I'm kind of on the same logic somewhat, but I also think that they could win like 6 games, and I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I think with the team like Cal that is, yeah, they have a lot of returning production, but it wasn't very good last year. So like you're kind of banking on these guys to step up when I don't know if they will. Personally, I feel like when Cal has to fly across the country, like I look at that as a loss already, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like going to Auburn, that's a long way from Cal. Loss. And you remember that game last year in like week 2 where Auburn almost lost to them at Cal. I think it was like 19-17 was the final score or some shit. They barely got out of there.
Yeah.
Like Auburn was like I think 10.5 point favorites on the road, and they lost or they won by 2. So Auburn's going to be a little more motivated. I think they're going to be a little bit better too. But I could see Auburn being a loss. Florida State, I don't think that's really going to be a contest. But I do think they go 2-2 into the first bye. The Miami game right here is the most interesting game probably on their schedule because they're getting Miami after a home game against Virginia Tech. And then Miami's got to fly all the way across the country, and they have a bye week after that. So it's a potential little sleepy slip-up spot for Miami because Miami then has to go from literally one corner of the world or one corner of the country to the other. I don't know how that's going to go. At Pitt, I think that would be a loss, but Cal kind of matches up with Pitt talent-wise, so, I mean, as of now, I'm seeing that as a loss, but if Pitt's quarterback goes down in week 3 in the backyard brawl at home against West Virginia, then all of a sudden that turns into a very winnable game for them. It's a long way to travel for a win, but it could be a win. Um, you know my opinion on NC State, so I'm not even going to talk about that. Oregon State, I have no idea what they have, but I just think that they've played them pretty tough the past couple of years when they're both in the Pac-12. So home game for them, I'll give them a win. Wake Forest is another one that they could win. I don't know if Wake Forest is going to be that good. Um, Obviously, Sam Hartman is 2 years removed now. He's not walking through that door. They do have Hank Bachmeier, um, who's that kid from Boise State a couple years back. And when his name is floated out into the ether, everybody gets excited and, like, everybody thinks that he's really good. And I'm not saying he's bad. I don't know if he's like the guy that's going to take the reins and run with them at Wake Forest. Like, I don't think he fits the offensive scheme that they're trying to run because he's like a dual threat guy. Sam Hartman wasn't a dual threat. Sam would sit in the pocket and throw the ball 75 yards off his back foot and sling it. So if they're changing their offensive scheme, then that's great. I need to see that beforehand. If not, I mean, they could win that game. Syracuse is going to be a good team. Syracuse home and road splits are abysmal over the past couple of years. So I would give Cal a win, especially Syracuse flying from New York all the way across to Cal. Versus Stanford, I don't think Stanford's going to be very good. I hate to say that. Stanford used to be like really fun to watch play football back when they had like Andrew Luck. And then those couple of years they had Christian McCaffrey. They were sweet. But I don't know. I honestly, 5.5 is a lot, but I could definitely see them winning 6 games. I would probably lean to the over because of that. Because if you mess around, right, and you win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you win 6 out of 7 home games, guess what? You won 6. You could lose every road game. And there's a couple road games that I think they might be able to win. I mean, they could win at Pitt, they could win at Wake Forest, and they could win at SMU. So if you lose a couple home games and you lose those, or you win those 3, you win 7 games. So I don't know. Cal, like the bottom tier of the ACC is like almost impossible for me to put my finger on. Like, I got no clue what's really going to happen because it's like with this whole 12-team playoff thing, are these teams going to go out there at the end of the year and really give a shit? Like, or are we going to start seeing like these college kids start acting like professionals? Like when, you know, like the Bears last year. Once you go 0-4, it's like, okay, might as well lose every game then. Get to the top, get a new guy. Like, are they going to start doing that not only as a team but as like an organization from like the dean and the athletic director and everybody? Is everybody going to be like, fuck this guy, fire this coach, get us a new quarterback, let's try again next year, and then they quit? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to watch. And honestly, as a college football purist, it's really upsetting to even think that I'm going to say this out loud, but does making a bowl game for some of these teams matter anymore?
No,
I don't think it does.
it doesn't.
Especially like if you're not in the top 12 seeds and you're not playing those bowl games, I don't think it matters.
No.
So
Guys aren't going to look at bowl wins anymore. They're going to look
right,
at playoff appearances.
exactly. So any team that's set at 5.5 is scary as shit because it's like, who cares? Do they want to play a bowl game, or does that team be like, you know what, we don't like the coach right now, we're out of here later, and give up on the team in week whatever 13? I guess that would be 13 or 14. Um, you want to start on
On these guys?
on Satan's University, or you want me to go?
On Satan's University?
Yeah,
I guess I'll go ahead and get it over with.
go ahead.
Clemson. Clem sucks. Their over-unders at 9.5 currently. I'll check in a minute just to make sure that's updated.
It was as of last night.
It was as of last night. Okay,
I
so I'm
went
just
through
gonna.
all these and checked last
Okay.
night and updated the lines,
All right, I had
so
it
we
pulled
should
up.
be okay.
But all right. If you're speaking to me as a South Carolina fan,
That's not what we need.
if
We don't
you're,
need a biased opinion.
if you're speaking to me as a South Carolina fan,
Then they're never going to win a
I'm
game.
putting $1 million on the under.
Oh, Jesus.
However, I tried to convince myself that there's, I guess, 3 games that I'm 1,000% on that they'll lose, and I don't see 3 games on this schedule that I'm 1,000% they're going to lose. I see 2, and then I see a couple that are up in the air depending on what team shows up, I guess.
But doesn't that kind of like tell you which side you should be on then?
Yeah, if I'm a Carolina fan, it's really telling me that I'm. Or what do you mean?
Because like let's just discuss this one together. Okay?
Yeah, we'll just go through this together.
The ones that you know for sure they're losing are Georgia and Florida State, right?
Correct.
Okay. So they've lost 2 games at that point.
Yes,
Are they good enough to go 10-0 in all the other ones? That's the question.
that's the question.
I think the answer is no.
That's what I'm 50-50
I
on.
think NC State could come into town and kick their ass.
Right.
I think Wake Forest always plays them very tough. I don't know why. I think Louisville is going to be good this year again. So Louisville could come into town and kick their ass. Virginia Tech on the road at night in Blacksburg. Fucking sandstorm, not sandstorm. Enter Sandman. Maybe a loss. I don't know. And not to mention the rivalry game at the end of the year that we literally, even as a South Carolina fan, you literally don't know what's going to happen in that
I
game.
don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what team.
2 years ago, they kicked the shit out of Tennessee and hurt Hendon Hooker, and then the next week beat the shit out of Clemson, and it made no sense
No, that was
because that Carolina team was dead on the mat, knocked out, counted fucking a million.
6-4.
Then they almost beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, it was like the greatest 2 weeks.
That was the greatest, that was the greatest 3 weeks stretch.
That was like the most up that we have been as a, I guess, like as a
Since Steven Garcia was
civilization.
ripping darts and drinking 12 packs.
Since like Connor Shaw left.
No. Well, maybe.
Because he was,
I don't know. You'll never go back to those Steven Garcia days. I'm sorry. Not with Beamer.
No, not with Beamer, no. But like
that's the other problem. Just to touch on that. I know you say you want change and you want Beamer out, but you got to really think about what else might actually be out there. And there's not much.
Not yet.
Not yet. Until Dabo gets fired.
We'll touch on that.
Oh, I can imagine.
I have a
Dabo goes to South Carolina.
Shut up. That's not happening.
Man, that would suck.
South Carolina students would burn down the stadium if that happened.
Here's kind of where I'm at with Clemson. And it's kind of the similar situation with Alabama. And
I wrote down under. I did write down the under.
I think I'm going to play the under. And what really, really, really is going to get me on this is it's a kind of similar situation to Bama, where thinking about them going 7-5 pitches a little bit of a tent, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
And it like the amount of outrage that will be on Twitter and within the group texts that I am involved in will be hilarious. So I'm gonna probably play the under out of spite. Just fuck them. Um, I think I think Dabo is just so full of himself. Like I get it. He's a good football coach and everything. I'll tell you when the turning point was for Dabo. I'll just do this a little quick story and then we'll kind of pick it up a little bit. Last year when they fucking got that kid, that the kicker that was supposed to be this tax guy or something, and they pulled him out of a New York office, put him on the field against Florida State at home in the most important game that you have on your schedule, right? He makes that first field goal. Everybody is sucking the kicker's dick, like, oh, I can't believe that you quit and come back. His dreams are still alive. Blah, blah, blah. I would do it too. Da, da, da. Buries the first field goal, first chip shot field goal. And they go over to the sideline, and Dabo goes legitimately like this. Like, headset down, smiling ear to ear, like, thank you, like, all glory to God, blah, 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 blah. From that moment on, I was watching that game. I was at work. It sucked watching it at work because I had to do shit in between. But from that moment on, I knew that game was going to come down to a clutch field goal, and he was going to fucking miss it. And that's exactly what happened. And watching the life just right out of Dabo's face, that's when I immediately became an anti-Dabo fan. Like, I'm done. Stop trying to outsmart everybody, man. Hit the transfer portal, get some fucking people, and then you'll start winning games again. Like,
I watched that missed kick.
How do you not have a kicker? How do you not have a kicker?
I don't know.
Clemson fans, I talk to them to this day, and they're like, I just really wish we could have at least hit the transfer portal for a kicker. That's maybe the one thing that we needed. Well, you needed a lot more, but that's besides the point.
So Clemson under for both of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under.
Okay. Fuck 'em.
Duke is a team that honestly was on the rise, but they kind of got decimated in both the transfer portal and they lost their coach. Mike Elko is now at Texas A&M. Riley Leonard is now at Notre Dame. So I don't know what to really do with Duke. They return a decent bit of both sides of the ball. Like after losing essentially a defensive-minded head coach, for them to return about 57% on defense, it's not terrible. They had a top 20 defense last year. The transfers are coming in. Malik Murphy showed a little bit of flashes when Riley Leonard was down last year, so I think he can probably take the torch and run with it. But Manny Diaz is like if Mike Elko is a defensive-minded coach, Manny Diaz is like the defensive-minded coach. Like, he does not run efficient offenses. I don't know who their offensive coordinator is yet, so I'm going to have to wait and see kind of how they run it. Them having an over-under of 5.5 is at least intriguing to me. Intriguing enough to where I think you play the over because it's plus money. I think they beat Elon. They can go on the road at Northwestern and get that win for sure. UConn, look, I love them for basketball. They're not a good football team right now. Middle Tennessee, they could win all 4 of those games. And then you got UNC at home. Yeah, and then you got UNC at home, which is a winnable game because UNC is not going to be as good as they were in the past 3 to 5 years. So you start 5-0. All you got to do is give me one more. and you got SMU, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, and at Miami still on the schedule. I mean, I personally would probably play the over. I don't see a world where that team doesn't at least go 6-6 with that schedule.
Yeah, I took the over as well.
Okay.
I think Malik Murphy's going to have a field day in the ACC after being the backup at Texas for the past 2 years or whatnot. He's been behind Quinn Ewers, and just Arch Manning came in and took the spotlight.
Is that the same kid?
Yeah, it's the same dude.
Really?
Yeah. So I think he's been hiding in the shadows behind Quinn Ewers.
He was not behind Riley Leonard.
No, he transferred in this.
Who was the kid? Who was the kid that was behind Riley Leonard?
I don't know.
And why do I feel like his name was Malik Murphy? I need to check that. Hold on.
Malik Mock?
You keep doing it.
Anyway, yeah, just he's coming in from Texas, which their QB room last year was supposedly great. We'll see how Arch Manning does. Everybody's just sucking him off. But he played a little bit last year at Texas, and he did a good job. It's just there's two quarterbacks in that room that are probably better than him. So I think him coming over to the ACC in a softer conference, he's going to put work in. And I know it's a first-year coach and all, but 6 games with this schedule doesn't seem impossible.
Why did I think Malik Murphy was on Duke last year?
I don't know.
I'm put myself in a fucking blender.
It's
the kid's name wasn't even close. The kid's name is Grayson Loftus. It's
4:30.
I don't know what planet I was on when I said that. My apologies. Jesus, that actually makes me feel way better about the over. Now that I know that it's that kid, I thought for some reason, dude, I was like, when Riley Leonard went down, I for some reason thought that there was a kid named Malik Murphy that took over, and there wasn't.
I don't know.
So I feel way better now. Thank you for that. You actually just made my morning.
I think that's going to be a good play.
Yeah, I think over is now definitely the play.
Yeah.
At plus 118 too. So
might take that today.
May have to take it by Monday. Some of these have moved, by the way, since I originally did this sheet.
They moved.
That's why I checked it last night.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple teams that went up an entire win. Or down an entire win. And we'll get to one that went up an entire win, and it's going to throw everybody for a loop what is going to happen, but we'll be okay. You and I have very similar expectations and opinions on this team, so I don't think we have to spend too much time on it.
No. 9.5 is kind of
9.5 is pretty nuts. I think they're thinking that Clemson, they're thinking Miami, they're thinking Notre Dame, and they're thinking possibly Florida at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I think coming down the stretch at the end of the year, Florida is going to be already gotten their teeth kicked in and maybe like 3-8 going into that game. So Florida's not going to have much to play for. Florida State, I think, is going to need to win that game in order to not only get into the playoff, but clinch a top 4 seed by going into the conference championship. So I don't think that their schedule is as tough as they're trying to make it seem. At Notre Dame's tough, I'm not going to lie. Clemson at home in a revenge spot is not the easiest game in the world, but I think they're going to win. Other than that, the only guaranteed loss I have them having is Notre Dame. SMU is a little sleepy spot right before Clemson, but I think they win, but I think SMU could cover that game. And I just – Miami and Mario Cristobal in general is the king of he can get them, but he can't win with them. And until proven otherwise, I'm not going to respect Miami. So I think Florida State goes 11-1, 10-2, no problem. And they're ready to roll.
Yep. I'm on the same side. Same things that you just said. On to the next.
Agreed. Strong agree.
Horrific.
This one's weird to me because their win totals at 5.5. So Vegas seems to think that they're teetering on making a bowl, which kind of makes sense with how their schedule is, but at the same time, like it could go really, really badly for them.
I
Like
think they
Florida
they got
State,
a tough schedule, dude.
they do have a tough schedule.
Yeah.
What's their strength of schedule? Like top,
Second.
yeah, top 10. I don't see. I'm never going to say that a team from the ACC has a top 5 schedule. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. So having a second overall schedule, I don't know. Now, I know Georgia at the end of the year on the road weighs a lot, so I get it. But they got to fly to Ireland to get beat by Florida State. I think they're gonna beat Georgia State. I think they beat VMI. So I think they're 2-3 pretty much heading into that bye. They get Duke off a bye in a good spot, and Duke heading into a bye. Like Duke will be heading into a bye, they'll be coming off a bye. I think that's just kind of like a perfect matchup for them. I think they're 3-3. After that, they would have to win 3 more of the following games: at UNC, Notre Dame at home, at Virginia Tech, Miami at home, NC State at home, and at Georgia. I don't know if that's going to happen. They return quite a bit on offense, and their offense was decent last year. I mean, top 50. So is Haynes King going to light the world on fire and give me a couple of wins that I'm not expecting? Probably. Honestly, I think at like plus 146 for over 5.5, it's worth a dart, maybe. But I'm not going to take it as of now. But that's the way I would lean, because the under is so heavily juiced that I feel like it's kind of a sucker play at this point. Like they're trying to get you to take it, and then they're going to end up winning 6 games somehow. Maybe somebody goes down near the end of the year. Like maybe that's a game that NC State loses. I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion on them. I would play the odds on that and just maybe sprinkle on the over.
Yeah. I took the under personally, or I would take the under personally.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
no issue with that.
It's another one of those things where it might be a coin flip.
Yeah.
I
have no issue with that. However, if you know for a fact that they're at 5 wins and they're going on the road to Georgia, you know you ain't fucking winning. So
you're right.
That's kind of where you're at. So you have to pretty much take the Georgia game off the schedule and be like, can they win 6? Because
and I don't think they can.
Can they win 6 out of 11? And it's like probably not, but
there's a chance.
There's a chance. I'll have to really look at them getting into the season and see which way we want to go. I'll probably end up taking the under, but if it's like minus 180 or whatever, I'm not going to take it. It's just too much. Louisville, I have to win the conference as well. They got 3 pretty tough road games. Obviously, Notre Dame, at Clemson, at Kentucky. If they lose all 3, they're going to be 9-3 at the best. Now, Louisville has had Kentucky's number in that rivalry game for quite some time. They've been kicking their ass for about 5-6 years now. I think those are the 3 games that I would feel somewhat comfortable saying that they could lose. I think Tyler Shook, coming over from Texas Tech, he can air out the fucking ball. And Jeff Brown is a guy who likes to sling it. And we've seen that when he was at Purdue and he had Aiden O'Connell out there. And I mean, I think he had Jack Plummer out there, or maybe Plummer was the one at Louisville. Jeff Brom runs a very good offensive scheme. He likes to sling the shit out of the rock. I have faith in him to win the important games that will get us to 9-3. So therefore, I would take the over, especially since it's plus money. I would take the over.
Yeah, I'm on the same side as you are. I just there's if if things go their way, there's 3 games they're going to lose at worst. I don't see them. I don't really see them losing to SMU or Miami at home. Their their home schedule versus their away schedule, I guess is how you would put it. They don't really face anybody that scary at home, so they have an advantage in that sense.
Yeah.
So they got to travel to Notre Dame, to Clemson, to Kentucky, which it doesn't really favor their win total. But since their win total is at 8.5, if those are 3 games that they lose, and those are 3 games that they lose, and you can move on. So if they go undefeated at home this year, great, because they're not losing to Stanford at Stanford. I don't think Stanford's got a good team. So
No, I don't either.
but,
This
and
one,
Bob,
this next one, I'm not really gonna waste that much time on. Miami over under 9.5. It's the fucking under. Until proven otherwise. I don't give a
yeah,
shit what their schedule looks like and how fucking easy it is. They've proven to me in that game against Georgia Tech last year that number one, Mario Cristobal is a big dumb fucking dipshit, and two, they can't win a football game. They can't. Doesn't matter who their quarterback is. I love Cam Ward. Cam Ward's a dog. I love him. Until they put a product on the field that warrants them the respect that they think that they deserve based on what like Ed Reed and all those boys used to do back in the day, then I have zero respect for them. So I'm playing the under, personally.
I'm also playing the under. They, like you said, they just haven't proved it. Everybody says they're going to have a good team at the beginning of the year just because of the name, and they always go out there and perform under expectations.
Yeah, they underperform and underdeliver, which is a rare thing.
Mm-hmm.
Their expectations are so high, they underdeliver and they do not perform well. So
Every year.
I'm not buying the hype. I don't give a shit if I'm wrong. I don't care. If Miami goes 12-0, then maybe I'll think about it, but I don't see it happen. So NC State is another one that I have to win the conference. So we've talked about them a little bit. I'm going to take the over. I really think they have a very favorable schedule. I think even if they lose to Tennessee and at Clemson, uh, I think over 8.5 is 100% on the table because I think they could win every single game. Other than that, obviously, it's going to kind of rely on Grayson McCall being healthy, and that is a big question mark. Somewhat close to like Utah and Cam Rising because like the kid just hasn't been healthy in quite some time. If he is, this team could go 10-2 easily. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I don't really need to dwell on them again because we've talked about them ad nauseum. So, but I would play the over.
I'm also with the over. Just touching up on what you said, there's really not too many teams on the schedule that make me think they're going to lose more than 4 or more than 3 games. Sorry. Just this stretch from Northern Illinois to Duke, it's all green because it's an easy stretch for them.
Yeah, it's very favorable.
So, and even then, if they lose maybe one of those games, you're still fine.
Yeah,
If they kind of sleep on one. So, I take the over as well.
agreed.
Hoorah!
Hoorah. UNC is another one that I can't really like put my finger on. I think like originally looking at the schedule, I thought they were going to win more than 7.5 games. But now, kind of looking at it, I mean, I could see it going really bad for them. Like, you got a home game against James Madison. James Madison's not a slouch.
Mm-mm.
Like, James Madison is of the caliber of App State, kind of. And they've been in some shootouts with App State the past couple of years. At Duke's not easy. Honestly, I probably won't touch them because I have no idea what Max Johnson is going to do.
Mm-mm.
I haven't seen that kid play in a while. Um, Mac Brown's a good football coach, but I think he's kind of on the back half of. He's definitely on the back nine, if not on the last two holes of his career. Um, so I'm not really sure how much faith I need to have in him or them as a team. Um, they didn't hit the transfer portal very well. They recruited, but I think losing Drake May is going to prove to be quite the loss. And they had a couple of receivers that got drafted. Their defense hasn't gotten any better, and I think that this team honestly could go like 4-8, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I'd probably play the under.
Yeah, I play the under as well. The main thing for me was the returning numbers. They're both less than 40%. And like you just said, they didn't really recruit that much. They're not bringing in anything from the transfer portal, really. So they're not adding on to what was lost.
Yeah.
So it's not a good mix for them. Same with Max Johnson. I've heard his name a couple times. I haven't seen him play. But I don't think they're going to win 8 games this year. I think it's going to be a fall off year for them. So I'd play under.
I'm going to take the over with Pitt, I think.
Pitt?
Because Pitt could fall asleep at the wheel and for some reason make a bowl game. Like, I feel like they're going to win 5 of their first 6 games. Whether they lose at Cincinnati or UNC is up to them. But I think they're going to beat Kent State. I think they're going to beat West Virginia at home in the backyard brawl. They're going to beat Youngstown State. They're going to get a bye. I think they might beat UNC now that I'm looking at it, and they're going to beat Cal at home. I think they may lose at Cincinnati. Right then and there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. And then you either got to beat Syracuse or maybe go on the road and beat Boston College or SMU. I'd play the over.
I wrote down the over as well. I think Pitt's always that team, no matter how good or bad they are, they're always going to ruin one team's season.
Yeah, they're always there.
Hopefully it's Clemson. I hope so.
But they're the thorn in everybody's side, that's for sure.
Right, yeah. So Kent State's probably a win, or definitely a win, sorry. West Virginia, Youngstown State, that's 3. Cal and Syracuse, maybe 4 and 5. If not Syracuse, I think Cincinnati personally, or Virginia, that's 5. And then they got to upset one of these last 3 teams.
That's true. I didn't even see Virginia down there. They can win
Yeah.
that game too. Yeah, I would play the over.
So I think the over is good.
I would play the over. SMU, new team in the ACC, getting 8.5 wins is pretty strong. But when you look at the schedule, it's very doable.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily recruit very well this year, but they do have some transfers coming in. Rhett Lashley's proven to be a decent coach. They had a top 15 offense and defense last year, and they returned a decent amount of both. I think they're actually going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
When I was doing my conference championship picks, I almost sprinkled on them to win the ACC, but just because they're a new team, I didn't really want to do that. There's only a couple of new teams going into conferences that I think can win, truly. But I wouldn't be shocked if this team went 9-3.
Mm.
Not at all.
I I didn't write down anything because I didn't know. I think that 8.5 mark is right on the fine line.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be 9-3 or 8-4,
yeah.
and
I wouldn't be shocked with either.
so it's just it
But
really
you're gonna give me over 8.5 at plus 116, then I'll take it.
right. Yeah, so
So
I didn't write down anything just because I haven't heard too much about them. The only stuff I've heard about them has been good,
yeah,
but I haven't seen enough for me to make a decision.
they're a dangerous little team. Like
Hmm.
nobody's really kind of talking or thinking about them. Like they don't
Yeah,
really have, and they're another one that like they have one top half of the ACC team to beat, and it's at home. It's Florida State.
yeah.
So if somehow, some way they win that game, they're in the driver's seat. So I'm not going to spend very much time on this next one. Stanford's not going to be very good.
No.
I would I would venture to say that they're going to go under 3.5 wins. It's plus money, so if you're going to give me plus money for Stanford to go under on a win total, I'll take it because they've proven to me that that is what they do. They are no longer the Stanford of old. Um, they fired their coach last year and gave this guy the job, and he hasn't done shit. Um, the transfer, the 120th in the country in transfers is not good.
No.
Their offense and defense last year were not good. They're returning a decent amount of both, but I don't think
Well,
that
that's
helps.
not good.
I
Yeah.
don't think that helps. And looking at that schedule, it is not favorable at all.
Hmm.
So I would play the under.
Yeah. I'm on the under as well. If you're 120th in the transfer portal, that means nobody wants to play for you.
Exactly.
And the only dudes that are there, they're still there because nobody wants them. So under. That you said
Agreed.
everything. Under.
Agreed. This one right here, this win total on Syracuse, I think is dead on because they're either going 7-5 or 8-4. I have them to win the conference, and I would love to see them go 10-2, but Syracuse always chokes, always. And you know, it's their head coach's first year. They got Kyle McCord in there. They hit the transfer portal and recruited pretty well for Syracuse's standards. Um, they're returning 81% of their offense and 67% of their defense. Their defense last year was 57th, which isn't great, but wasn't bad.
Mhm.
And they were barely a top 100 offense. But I think Kyle McCord is going to make them a little bit better. Um, I think this team either goes 8-4 or 7-5, like I said. So if you're going to give me the over 7.5 at plus money, I'm going to sprinkle on that and hope to God that they play as good as I think they can.
Was there over under at 6.5?
It was,
Okay.
and it
Well,
went up.
yeah. Well, I said under at 6.5.
Yeah.
So I'm
So you're
now,
back on the under again,
yeah, I'm still on the
laying the
under,
juice.
and this time it's more certain.
See, I was on the over 6.5, and then you gave and I thought they were going to go 8-4, so you gave me 7.5 plus money. It's like now we're tiptoeing on the line,
Yeah.
and I don't like it. But Vegas is smart, so fuck them.
Yeah. Um, I think Kyle McCord was only good because of what surrounded him. I don't think obviously Syracuse is not going to have the
People are
same
going to
what
come for you for that.
fuck him. He's only good because of what's surrounding him. Syracuse is not Ohio State. They're not going to have Marvin Harrison running around. It's just
You are going to be in a bucket of piss when they start 5-0.
I might be, but they're not going to finish undefeated for sure.
No, but if they start 5-0, it changes everything because then all they got to do is beat Virginia Tech and UConn.
But they might not.
We'll see.
I'm on the under.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't particularly love Virginia's schedule, but I think they could win 5 games. I think Calandria having another year under his belt. He played really well last year. They returned 85% of their offense. Again, their numbers offensively and defensively last year were not fantastic. So I don't know how much returning production matters for them. But I think that Tony Calandria can win you a couple games that you're not expecting them to win. And that's how they're going to get to 5 wins. So for some reason, the over and the under of 4.5 are both at -110 as of last night. This is one where I might flip and say the under in like a week, but right now I'm on the over.
Shout out to Coastal for getting a Power 4 school to come travel to. It's always a good feeling as a
If you
smaller
want
school
to,
like that.
if you want to consider
If you
being a
want
Power 4, then sure.
to.
They won't be Power 4 after they get their ass beat by Coastal. And if they lose to Coastal, then my over is dead. So there you go.
Yeah.
This is the team.
I took under. That's it.
You took the under?
I
Okay.
took the under.
I figured you probably would have, so I wasn't. This is the team where the win went up a total win.
PT.
Yeah. They were at 7.5 for
And it
Friday.
went up to 8.5.
And it went up to 8.5. I personally, kind of like you with Syracuse, I was under the 7.5.
Yeah.
So now you're giving me 8.5. I will take the under again. -158. No explanation needed. I took them to win the conference, and I totally understand that. I think that they can get in the conference championship at 8-4. I think that's doable.
It is.
So I don't think that Virginia Tech's all of a sudden going to go out there and be 9-3, 10-2 like back in the day. And if that happens, great. But until it happens, I'll play the under. They are returning 95% of their offense, which is first in the country, by the way. So, and 77% of their defense. So they have a lot of returning production. So we kind of just need to see whether Brent Pry, right? Yeah, Brent Pry is worth a shit on the coaching staff, because they're talking about this Kyron Jones kid like he's going to be the next Cam Newton at all. Everybody's
tough.
like, "Oh, he's big, he's a runner, he's huge." Da, 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 da. Like they're sucking this guy off like he's Cam Newton. So if he goes out there and he plays like that, hats off to you. I'll never doubt you again. But there's one Cam Newton, and that's it. So that's pretty much my opinion on it.
95 Cam Newton in the game on Monday would be very nice.
Nah.
Anywho,
99 TiVo.
Oh my god. VT, I was at when it was 7.5, I was at the over, but now that it's 8.5, I'm at the under. I had them going 8-4 at best.
Yeah, I think they can go 8-4. I think that's very doable, and 8-4 is a good season for them.
Yeah, 8-4 is a very good season.
It's not asking too much. It's just
where it is. I think anybody beats Vanderbilt, and that's how I will roll until Vanderbilt shows me something else. I've never seen Vanderbilt win a good football game. So
yeah, I did give them the loss at Vanderbilt to start the year, huh?
Yeah, but
that could change.
Yeah,
we'll see.
8.5. Give me the under. That's a lot.
Pretty sure they're like favored by like 14.5 going to Vanderbilt, which makes me really queasy. So I understand it's Vanderbilt, but it's a road game in the SEC school, and Vanderbilt has maybe my favorite quarterback in the country now. So yeah, watch out. This is another one I'm not really going to spend too much time on. I think that they're going to go under 4.5 wins, regardless of who their quarterback is. Dave Clawson, he's a respectable coach. I mean, he has an above 500 record at Wake Forest in the ACC. So, like, good for him. The transfer portal, they didn't hit it very well. They have not recruited. They got Hank Brockmeyer, but I don't think that matters. They're not returning. They're returning a good bit on defense, but their defense was not great. They're returning less on offense, and their offense was worse. I don't see them. I don't see them winning a bunch. When I first started looking at these, they were at 5.5, and now they've gone down to 4.5. And right now, you can get the under 4.5 at plus money. I think that's very much in play. I think they could go 4-8
Mm-hmm.
without a problem. Like I think they could go 4-8 for sure, and I would not be shocked.
Yeah, I think 5 and 7 is a lot to ask of them this year.
Absolutely.
So I'm with the under as well. They just
5-7 is a lot to ask out of Wake Forest every year if they do not have a quarterback of the caliber of Sam Hartman. Like Sam Hartman made that school very good for 2 to 3 years,
yeah, that was it.
and then last year they went 4-8, like immediately after. Notre Dame was good last year, and all of a sudden had a quarterback
Yeah,
because he was there.
yeah. It
By
was
the
like
way, going back like 2-3 pods ago, Audric Estime,
yeah,
he's no longer on Notre Dame. He got drafted by the Broncos.
good.
So
As
if
a sophomore, by the way, right?
yeah, if Javonte Williams goes down for the Broncos, they need to start handing that guy the ball.
He's gonna be scary.
And the Broncos quarterback is Zach Wilson, by the way. So they're going to be handing the ball off.
If you're running the ball.
They should be if they know what's good for them.
Sneaky free agent pickup this year.
As a Jets guy, Zach Wilson needs to hand the ball off a lot. You better have some running backs ready to go. But
I didn't know
so
he got drafted. That's crazy.
yeah, you did. I checked that out the other day. I was what I was doing was I was doing a fantasy mock draft, and I
Yeah,
typed in his last name, and it said Denver, and I was like, oh no shit, he got drafted. Good for him. I was like, because he's not on Notre Dame's roster, so I was like, where the fuck is he? And I found it. ESPN keeps telling me that he's on Notre Dame, and then like I go look at their roster, and he's not on it, and I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. So,
oh, good.
well, that's the ACC
That's the ACC.
in a nutshell.
That's the worst one out of the way.
Yeah, that's the worst one out of the way. We got 3 more to do, and I talked to you about this last night. I'm starting to do depth charts for the NFL and going team by team, and I'm gonna
That's
go.
crazy.
I did their tentative wins and losses on their schedules based on just looking at them. And then I'm probably going to really break down like team by team how they match up on each side of the ball and go that way to try.
It'll all make sense when it's done.
I mean, it makes sense to me right now. So that's what we're going to do because there is quite a bit of time that's going to be open after we finish these win totals that we're going to have to talk about something. And I would love to talk about the NFL a little bit.
That's fine.
Not only because we're going to be playing fantasy against each other, but also because I bet on the NFL just as much as I do college football. So
yeah,
it's going to be fun.
It's fun.
It'll be a good time.
Good time. Good time.
It'll be a good time. Good time.
Well,
that's all I got. You got anything?
Shout out to Spain last night. Give me the overall win. I took Spain to win.
Don't lie on camera. Did you take both sides or did you just take one?
No, I just took Spain.
Okay. Because when you called me and you were talking about doing that shit, I'm
I
was curious. Draw and he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, no, I was curious, but I just took Spain straight up. I think I told myself that France is kind of looking towards winning the Olympics at home in Paris, so I just took Spain. They had that 16-year-old kid, some double name dude, youngest person to ever score in a Euro. So he put him up.
I have one gripe about what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
One gripe. This is kind of selfish. Well, one gripe.
It's fine.
Where was the text message?
I didn't know how you felt about it.
Where's the text message?
Now you're gonna hate me for what I'm about to say too, because I took Argentina -1.5, and they won 2-0 against Canada. Messi scored on the 52nd minute, and
Are you done?
I
I'm done.
took
I'm done with you. I'm done with you right now.
today.
I mean, where
here?
is the text message? Where?
I didn't know how you felt about it.
Where? If I didn't feel good about either of them, I could have parlayed them together, and guess
All
what?
right.
It would have paid off.
All right. Today I have Uruguay,
No,
Colombia.
I don't want it now.
Uruguay, Colombia.
No, because as soon as I take it, you're going to
first
lose.
half.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
That's why I didn't text you. There you go. Answer. Prayers answered.
What are you trying to say?
We have this thing going on to where if we send each other texts about things that happen, they're not going to end well.
When you have your hand in the cookie jar and there's a lot of cookies to go around, you don't fucking eat them all yourself. Okay?
I do when I'm trying to gain weight.
Take it from a somewhat fat guy. Somewhat. And when there's pizza in the box, you fucking throw a slice on the plate and hand it to me.
I do when
That's
I'm
what
trying
you
to
do.
gain weight.
You don't gain fucking weight.
Uruguay, Colombia, first half draw. Uruguay money line. There you go. That's my pick for the day. And then Sunday we have the finals, and I will be sitting on my couch watching.
Jesus. We're almost at the end of it.
Almost at the end of it.
Well, I'm not going to get in on it now, so you're welcome. You're such an asshole.
If there's country soccer games going on, you will count me in.
I have not watched.
Nothing is more fun to me than.
I haven't watched sports. No, I watched sports on Sunday because I watched golf, and I had a sleeper lineup on, so I was watching MLB, and I missed by one. Go figure. And golf was falling apart, so I immediately turned off all the TVs and came in here and played Madden. And then I got beat in Madden by a team I shouldn't have got beat by, and I freaked out and almost broke the controller. And then I went outside and I downloaded a poker app on my phone, and I've been playing that. So
that's what I love about Sundays.
That's what I've been doing with my life. I am very geared up for Monday.
For Monday?
Yeah, very much so. Because I think it drops midnight Sunday night.
I'm kind of upset I forgot what you were talking about. But now I know.
And right. Where's the fucking text?
Where's the text?
Where's the text? Because all I'm doing is trying to be a good friend, and you don't fucking do that for me. So
no, I just
like every other part of my life, like I just bend over backwards for everybody, and then
all right,
I get nothing. So.
All right, I know for the future I will text you when I take
no raises, no fucking free lunches, nothing. I don't get shit.
National soccer spreads, I will now text you.
I set up this entire fantasy league and fucking manage it the whole year. No credit. I don't get anything. Get nothing. I lose the league too, which is even better. So yeah, whatever, man. It's all good. It's fine. I don't take it personally. It's fine. Totally.
See you on Friday.
See you on Friday.
Big Ten.
Big Ten Friday.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.